Hello, my name is Dean Contover, and you're watching The Current Buzz. Today we have Dr. Jay Lang. He's a superintendent of schools in Chelmsford, Massachusetts, and we're going to talk about the schools in Chelmsford, the great schools you have in Chelmsford, since you've been superintendent.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for having me back on again.
No problem. It's been 5 years now. Is it you're going into your fifth year?
Going into my fifth year already.
Wow.
Yeah, we're starting year number 5.
Wow, good for
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
You're not going anyplace else, are you? I mean, I
No.
want to get it.
No, I love it here.
Oh, good.
So no, I see myself here for the foreseeable future.
Do you have any articles coming up in regards to town meeting?
You know what? For the fall, we don't.
Okay.
We typically have our budget articles or our capital items that will come up in the springtime.
Okay.
From time to time, there'll be a fall article, but we don't actually have anything this year.
Okay. All right. I just got to get that out of the way.
Yeah, nothing school.
Okay.
Yeah.
The big issue, right, these days is vaping. Explain what vaping is. Vaping is a mechanical cigarette, I guess, and has pods in it, and you put it in and you smoke it. It's people say it's better than cigarette smoking, but I haven't seen any statistics that say that. I think that's an urban myth. Show me the statistics that it's better than vaping is better than smoking
Right.
cigarettes. There's nothing out there.
Yeah, vaping is certainly something that I think kids are experimenting with a little bit and trying it at all different levels. I'm not the authority on vaping, but I can tell you that it's certainly an issue in our schools, and I think a lot of other schools in the area. More so at the high school level, although I'm sure we see it a little bit at the middle school level.
Right.
But you saw over the last couple of years almost those e-cigarette type thing or electronic cigarette. Type things become more popular, almost as it was kind of fashioned to be like a cleaner version of smoking.
Mm-hmm.
But oftentimes, the vape product will come with a flavoring, which is attractive to kids. Sometimes, unfortunately, people will put stuff in the vape, which is something that the
like
schools have to deal with.
THC, which is
any kind of like a
marijuana
marijuana type thing. So it's very difficult to fool around with. But I think we've seen recently it's been well advertised just the danger involved with vaping.
Right.
And how the medical community is starting to weigh in on the different adverse effects and the negative effects that it can have on your lungs and your body. So I know our schools are kind of on the lookout, trying to educate kids on, again, the dangers that they have to be aware of. Certainly do not promote it in any fashion. And, the schools are remaining vigilant, trying to kind of crack down on students who would be using that product. We treat it similar to, say, like a smoking type violation within the schools.
So the same policy that for smoking cigarettes is the same for
would be
vaping.
a similar product for vaping, yeah. And then again, we're waiting to see what the state's going to do. The governor had announced, again, still
Emergency.
trying to get up on that,
Right.
some stopping of the purchasing of vaping type products. So it's difficult. It's just another one of those things that our kids have to deal with. And again, it's trying to educate, get information out about some of the negative consequences and the damage that it can really do to your body.
Right.
That kids unfortunately don't always think about. So it's certainly something that we're concerned with. It's unfortunate that we even have to deal with, but it is in our society these days.
Yeah, there's a company out there, and I don't know if I could say it on television. It's public television.
Mm-hmm.
You could say anything probably.
Right.
But there's a company out there that 5 years ago was worth $15 million. And I did the research on it. And last year, Philip Morris Company bought Juul for $12.8 billion, and they only got 35% of the company.
Wow.
I mean, so they know something.
Yeah, there's significant money
There's a lot of money
in this,
in
and I think there's a lot of marketing that gets thrown at trying to attract a younger audience. And
Right.
again, unfortunately,
Can we have a no vaping zone in school? I mean, can we advertise like they did for cigarettes a few years ago? Maybe that would be a good
Well, we
idea.
do. We have a no, schools
I
are no
know.
vaping and
Yeah.
no tobacco. And I think it's really just trying to crack down on kids who are using it.
Right.
But at the same time, educating them about the negative consequences, because it's no better if they're not doing it at school, but on their way home or, in the evenings they're doing it. So
Right.
we're really trying that education piece.
Right.
To make sure that students know the consequences.
I have a lot of questions for you.
All right.
All right, we're going to go. fees. They've come
Yes.
down in some places. Huh?
We have, yeah. People are very excited about
Yeah,
that.
that's
So there's
good.
a couple
That's a positive thing. You don't
That's a good
usually
thing.
get fees coming down.
Right.
Usually they're going up. All right, explain that.
Yeah, we've been able to, through our budgeting, we've been able to actually reduce a few fees and then also eliminate the most one talked about is the parking fee at the high school.
Right.
So students used to have to pay $200 to park at the high school. And in last year's budget, we were able to actually eliminate that fee, so our students don't have to pay that any longer. And we've made a conscious effort. We really want kids to be involved in as many extracurricular after-school activities as possible. So we're trying to remove any barriers to that participation.
Right.
So at the high school level and the middle school level, we actually reduced our year-long fee by $25 at each level for those students.
Does that include, let's say, sports teams? Because
Sports teams are separate. So when I say clubs and activities, that would be like all of your after-school
No, I
performance-type groups and different electives that they have at the middle school level.
Right.
The athletic teams still pay a fee to participate, and it's by season, and there are certain family caps and things along those lines.
right, because I think that holds back a lot of kids from participating in 2 or 3 sports by having a large fee like that. I mean, that's what I
It
was
can,
told.
it can. It's
by
a
some
balancing
parents,
act
yeah.
because I know. I mean, anytime you have a fee, you have a potential for restricting, access
yeah, in
or
regards to
making
families.
something
Yeah.
that a child can participate in.
Yeah.
So again, we've taken a look at some of those fees that really affect everyone, and the parking fee was
Right,
technically
yeah.
one.
The poor kids were working at school and they had to pay a working after school and they had to pay a parking
Right,
fee.
right.
And that
I
wasn't
mean,
conducive to helping.
It wasn't totally unreasonable. It was $200
Yeah.
for the year, compared to that's similar to what you would have paid to
Right.
ride the school bus to school for the year. On the fees that we still have, we do still have the busing fee,
Right.
and we do still have the athletic fee, and those are fees that we'll look at over time to see if there's anything we can do
Right.
to make them more manageable.
Right.
But we actually have not increased them over the last number of years, even though the cost for athletic participation or our school buses has increased. So technically, we are actually keeping those fees arbitrarily low, and our budget is supporting what really would be the difference between the true cost and what students are paying.
Last year, you had to fix the parking lot finally at the high school.
Yes, the
For
back.
the back parking
Correct.
lot, finally, and put lights in and
Yes.
put trees
The,
in.
yep, looks very good.
It's looking good.
The town, that was one of our capital projects
Right.
that had gone to Springtown meeting 2
Right.
years ago. So the back parking lot was all totally repaved. DPW added lights, which really is nice. I was there Friday night for the home opener for the football team.
Right.
And it's nice walking out into the parking lot and having good visibility,
Yeah,
so that was helpful.
Yeah, that's true.
When you asked me earlier about fall town meeting articles, while it's not specifically a school article, there is an article for approximately $500,000 to be able to redo the front parking lot at the high school. So that's something that DPW is working on, being able to, we had done only the back parking lot,
Right.
to be able to come in
Oh, that's
now and actually do
interesting.
the front. So
Oh, okay.
if that is approved, then actually the entire high school parking lots, front and back, would be redone. And I would
And new
anticipate,
lights?
in the front of the building.
Yeah.
And I would anticipate that would likely be done next summer.
Speaking of the front parking lot, lately they've put these telephone poles up in regards to.
Oh, that's the ropes course. Yes, we have a.
Yeah, so tell the people about this new course.
Sure. No, we've got a bunch of new offerings in the schools, but one of them, we always had a high and a low ropes course at the 2 middle schools.
Right.
And we're trying to add some programming at the high school level to our phys ed curriculum.
Right.
So yes, when you're coming in the main driveway on the left, you'll actually see some very large poles coming out of the ground. They actually have all the apparatus on them now.
They do have the
And it's a high ropes course, so that the phys ed classes can go out and
Good.
actually do a bunch of different activities. I'm not particularly fond of heights, so I won't be on them myself. But no, it's a nice addition
Yeah,
to the
right.
to the course.
That's a change, yeah.
The other thing that is actually coming a little later this fall is one of the other sports that's become popular is that frisbee golf. I don't know if you've seen that.
The frisbee golf?
Yeah, so you would
I
actually
was thinking of
have.
frisbee football, but
No, well, like a
Frisbee
frisbee golf.
golf.
So
Okay.
you would actually have it's like a metal receptacle where you try to throw a frisbee at it and get it in the receptacle. We're actually adding an 18-hole frisbee golf course. So,
Where?
well, part of it's going to be up on that front lawn at the high school, and it's going to weave over to Parker and McCarthy. So we'll have where the ropes course is,
Yeah,
a little bit
yeah.
further down.
Yeah.
We'll
But
actually
that's where
have
they
that.
use the javelin. When they throw the javelin there, the javelin is usually
Yeah, but
done there.
it's multi-use, so
Oh,
it's
okay.
not, obviously, we wouldn't use it at the same time we're
Okay.
throwing
Yeah,
javelins.
yeah, exactly.
But it can be using the same areas.
I
But that's just another activity for our
Right.
kids to be able to participate in
Yeah,
their classes.
I see the new, in case people haven't been by the high school, we have a new sign saying Chelmsford High School, class
Yes.
of 2017, 2018.
There were two classes that actually got together and helped fund that new sign for the front of the high
And it's
school.
lit up.
It is. It came out really nice. It's a nice granite sign, and it's got the uplighting from the ground.
My big complaint is at night. Usually the people who put the lights up, they put it during the day.
Yeah.
And I drive by there almost every night.
Okay.
And the light has to be lifted up a little bit when you're coming from Drum Hill.
Coming in?
Yeah, coming
Okay.
in. It has to be up, raised about an inch, because
I'll see what I can do.
because it's in the driver's eyes. I mean,
Yeah, I
it's
haven't seen that, but
but
I'll
usually people, it's the same thing with the Harrington parking lot. When you're coming up the hill from Richardson Road, the new lights are shining, and it's right in your eyes.
Okay.
See, I tell you these little things.
Yeah, no, I'll take a peek at
'Cause
that. I hadn't
I
noticed
always
it.
complain about the guys who put it up during the day. They never drive by it at night and
Right.
check it out and see the light.
Well, it probably depends on what type of car you're driving too, and how
It's a-
high or low to the ground you are.
Well,
It
yeah.
may affect you more or less.
Well, on that sign coming in for Chelmsford High
Right.
School. But the other one is the street,
Yes, coming up the driveway.
the Harrington, and that parking lot looks great.
I did. That one came out nice in the front of the Center Elementary School.
Yeah.
Came out really nice this summer as well. Added at least 30 or 35 parking spots over at Center, which was a huge help to them.
Right.
And even more at Harrington. So now you don't have a lot of cars parking up on the main road,
Right.
which is really nice.
Yeah, that's a good move. I mean, you're doing a great job.
No, we got a lot of stuff, and it's
Yeah.
really, but it's not me. It's not only
Yeah,
me.
no,
We've got a
understand.
great staff that are working on it. We have good
Right.
departmental cooperation with the town departments, and a lot of good things happening.
Yeah, a lot of good things happening. You're getting computers in the classroom now. The kids
Yeah,
are
very
taking them
exciting.
home.
We just rolled out a big one-on-one Chromebook initiative in our district. So
Explain what Chromebook is.
a Chromebook's like a laptop. So it's like a laptop computer, but it utilizes a Google Chrome type
Okay. Yeah, the Chromebook. yeah.
setup. So what we ended up doing was all of our incoming 5th and 9th grade students actually receiving a laptop from the district, and they can take it to school with them, they can take it home, and the reason we picked 5th and 9th grade is basically the devices and the way we work the financing on the project. Our school choice revenue is actually going to pay for the initiative, so it's not going to add to our local operating budget.
I see.
Right, so that was
We'll
a
talk
way.
about school choice,
We'll
but
talk about that,
yeah.
but that funding is actually supporting this initiative. And the devices that we purchased have about a 4-year useful lifespan, so we want to turn them over every 4 years on a lease.
I see, okay.
So we picked 5th and 9th, so that
makes
incoming,
sense.
say, 5th grade students will use the device for 4 years, turn it in, and then get a new device for 4 years of high school, turn it in when they're done, and move on.
It teaches them responsibility too. If they lose this, what happens?
Yeah, well, if they lose it, I mean, if they damage it, we obviously will help them
Yeah.
protection-wise, but if they lose it, no, they have to replace the device.
Okay.
So there is a responsibility factor, and
Okay.
students and parents have signed off on that.
Okay,
Knock
I
on
didn't
wood,
know,
we
yeah.
haven't had any big
right.
issues yet.
All right.
And I think it's just a great resource to be able to have kids have a device with them. In a class, instead of having to go take out a card of computers, they could take a device out if they needed to do some research, do some small group work, put it away when they're not using it. But it's the world we live in today, and it's the world the kids are going to be exposed to
No
when they
doubt
go to
about it.
college.
No doubt about it.
So I'm excited. A lot of districts are trying different initiatives at the high school level, but really being able to roll that out at the 5th grade level too is unique to Chelmsford.
Right.
And in 4 years' time, every one of our students from grades 5 to 12 is going to have a device, and that's, I think, going to be an incredible asset for our kids.
What a great job, School choice. I mean,
Sure.
Lowell's building a new school. It seems like a lot of people are scurrying to different schools. They're sending their children to different schools rather than be there for Lowell High School building their school project in
Right.
downtown Lowell.
Right.
In case a lot of people don't know, they're building a new school in the future. In the next couple of years, I think it's going to start.
Hopefully,
And a lot of people are scurrying and trying to get their kids in other schools. like Lowell Catholic, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Are you seeing the uptick in regards to school choice from people from the Lowell?
A little bit. So what we ended up doing is...
Explain school choice too.
So, yeah, school choice is a program statewide where if a school district such as Chelmsford has extra availability in spaces,
Right.
that we can allow students from another school district to come and be serviced like a Chelmsford Public School student. So we took a look district-wide, and we actually, we've been talking about having an increase in enrollment at the elementary and middle school grades, but a little bit of a decrease at the high school. So we actually have some capacity at the high school level to add some students and really not affect class size overall.
Right.
So we have made the conscious decision to take about 50 students
Wow.
total, right, throughout the district.
okay, total.
Elementary, middle, and high
Elementary,
school.
middle schools.
And again, we're kind of seeing those elementary school kids go up to the middle school now,
Right.
and those middle schools go up to the high school. So like this past year, we, I think, graduated 7 students at the high school level onto college. So we
That were from out of town.
that were from other towns. They were part of that 50. So we want to maintain that 50 students because, again, that provides the revenue for some of our programming,
Right.
such as that one-on-one initiative.
That's what I wanted to get.
Right.
the
So what we ended up doing is we had the school committee vote to basically open up 7 new spaces. We don't want to go crazy
Yeah.
and have too many.
Right.
But by opening up 7, and we restricted it to incoming 9th grade students. Because again, our elementary and middle school enrollment is where we want it to be,
Yeah.
but we have the room at the high school. So we allowed 7 new students to come in from other towns, could be Lowell, Drake, Billerica, wherever, and they'll actually go along high school with all the Chelmsford
How do
kids.
they get from, let's say, Drake to, or from Lowell? Do their parents have to drive?
They
them
have
in?
to. That's
Yeah,
one of the
really
that's one of the things that
pick
students
'em
have
up.
to get there on their own.
Right.
So some will carpool
Yeah, yeah.
and things like that, but no, the parents are responsible for bringing their kids to and from
Okay, I
school
didn't know
each
how
day.
that worked. Yeah, I didn't know how that
Yep.
worked.
No, the district isn't responsible for
So
that.
how many applications did you get this year for the high school? And what happens if there's over 7?
Yeah. Well, and the
people
reason
that
we
apply.
picked 7, even though we probably could have taken a few more,
I see.
just to try to maintain that 50 or so for
Right.
the district. I want to say we received 10 or 12 applications, and what
That's all?
yeah, because again, parents do need to be able to get their kids to and
Right.
from school. It doesn't work for everyone.
Right, that's
And
true.
it's a lottery. So if we have an opening date where we accept applications,
Right.
as of the close, if we have 12 students, it's a blind lottery. You pick 7 names out of a hat, and those 7 are invited to come. If any of those 7 don't come, then you would go to number 8 or 9, 10, 11, right down the line.
Right.
So that's what we've done. I think over the next couple of years, we may start to see more high school interest, particularly where you have some students now at that high school level
Right.
who are participating in the program. I think the word of mouth gets out and people talk about
Well,
it.
they'll be watching this in Lowell, so I mean,
Right,
then
right.
they'll,
Yeah, so it will be interesting to see what happens.
Right.
But it's a great program.
Let's talk about the big thing, college credits. Is it in the high school?
The dual enrollment program?
Yeah, the dual enrollment program. I mean, I call it college credits
Sure.
so people understand it. A dual enrollment program, what's that about? And,
Yeah, we're going into year
when
2.
is that going to, year 2.
So we're going into year 2. So last year was our first year, and we offered about 6 or 7 courses that were taught at Chelmsford High School by Chelmsford High School faculty.
Mm-hmm.
And students who participated in those courses at the same time they earned Chelmsford High School credit also earned credit at Middlesex Community College.
Wow, that's great.
So, yeah, so the buy-in from the parent is if your child is in one of these programs and they have to meet certain criteria to get in, they basically pay a reduced rate for the 3 college credits. I want to say it's about $280. But it's about $90 a credit.
I heard it was 180, but I mean,
Is it 180?
I don't know. I may be wrong.
I thought it was about $90
But
a
they
credit.
still have to pay. Well, that's a great savings.
Oh, it's a great savings.
It's a
So,
great savings. And just to get English or history out of the way
Right.
in regards to
right.
college, you know.
And then those credits are transferable. So, and I can give you an experience. So my son who went to Lowell High School
Okay.
ended up taking
Oh,
4.
he's a Red Raider.
He's a Red Raider.
Raider, all right.
He took 4 classes when he was at high school and ended up going to Merrimack. All 4 of those classes transferred in.
Wow.
And so he basically started as a second semester
Right,
freshman.
wow. And you saved money.
And you save money, but I think the other thing is it allows students, if they don't 100% know what they might want to do in college,
Mm-hmm.
they've got a couple of extra courses in their load where they might be able to take an extra elective. and not feel the pressure of having, say, that
Right.
4 or 5 classes per semester that they have to take. It gives them a little bit of leeway to be able to try some things out as a freshman or sophomore that you typically wouldn't, because you're getting some of that core curriculum programming done
Right.
when you're in high school. And again, I do think it's a great savings for
I think
parents.
so too. I think it's a
So
great
we've
program.
increased from the 6 or 7 classes last year to, I believe, about 15. We've almost doubled
So
for this year.
is this just English or history or what?
No,
is
in
it
each of the
big
different
array?
disciplines. So there's a process to go through to
Okay.
get your course approved.
Okay.
And ideally, again, we've more than doubled for year 2. But what we'd like to do is actually set up some pathways for students so that when they come in, beginning maybe sophomore year, their sophomore, junior, and senior year, they could take a prescribed set of courses that would lead towards an associate's degree. And I think a couple years down the line, we might be able to actually have students graduating with a Chelmsford High School degree and an associate's degree,
Right.
have 2 years of college done, and then go off to college,
Right.
to a 4-year school.
I think that's
right out of
great.
high
I
school.
think
And
that's
again, I think it's a great financial
think-
savings,
yeah, I
but
think
it
so
also just opens up doors for our kids
Yeah.
to be able to have some exposure to college-level courses at the high school level.
And it's in high school. They don't have
And
to
it's
go-
at Chelmsford High School,
yeah,
correct?
that's-
Yeah, that's that whole process we have to go through with our teachers.
I recently talked to the local postmaster. I won't tell you which one, but she said that a lot of the kids don't know how to write out envelopes in regards to writing the address of someplace. You know.
Okay.
I just want to let you know that.
I
that's
hadn't
what
heard
she
that
told
one
me.
before.
And are we teaching cursive still? at
Oh, you mean
school?
using cursive?
Yeah, well, cursive or even writing out an envelope.
Yeah,
Or
I
a
mean-
package to send at a post office.
Right.
They-
Yeah, I mean, there are certain skills kids
Yeah, I
just kind of
know.
pick up
I know.
as they
So
go
I just
through
wanna
their
tell you,
schooling.
I just
Yeah, no,
tell you.
I appreciate that.
Not important, but I understand we have ESL. We have 250 students that are non
English language learners.
English.
Yeah, so again, just as a point, 4 years ago when I came, we had just over 100 students who were classified as ELL. So that just means their first language is not English in the home.
Right.
And
That's a lot,
But
250.
that's more than doubled in just
Yeah.
the 4 years that I've been here, because we're, I don't know if it's
Added
quite
apartment
250, but we're a
buildings.
little over 200.
Yeah.
So we actually have a specialized staff. We have a teacher at each of our schools.
I see.
Who is our ELL teacher that will pull students out for extra reading supports. Oftentimes it's literacy supports. But at our elementary schools, our middle schools, and our high school, to work with this population of students and really get them mainstreamed and integrated into classrooms as quickly as we can.
MCAS, the new tests, how are they doing? How are you guys doing with MCAS? I know there's some difficulty. What did I read in the Boston Globe? There was a certain people were, the numbers weren't that great overall.
Well,
let's say in Chelmsford.
Yep. So we actually participated in the MCAS last spring.
Right.
I think the big change for us is it's moved to almost an entirely online class
Right.
test assessment at this point. So our students all, again, through their Chromebooks or whatever device they had within the buildings, they took it online. So that was the big change for us.
Right.
And we just got our data back from last spring's test from the DOE last week.
Okay.
So we're going through the process right now of kind of sorting through that data, seeing where we really scored well, seeing the areas where we need to put some extra emphasis on this year.
Right.
And then we will produce a report for the school committee, probably at the end of October, early November, with how we performed, both of the district and looking at Chelmsford historically, but also looking at some of our comparable districts to show how we stack up against other districts that have a similar demographic that we have.
How are you doing in regards overall, in regards to Chelmsford, in regards to the numbers? Above average?
Oh, the scoring?
Yeah, the score.
Yes, we're certainly above average, particularly above our peers.
Right.
But the new data system that the state gives us, we can also pick other communities that aren't necessarily our like groups
Right.
and see how we compare to them or use them as some benchmarks to figure out if we want our students to perform at a particular level, how are we doing against some of the higher performing districts in the state. So we can use this new system to be able to do that. But I'm actually very happy with our students
Yeah,
and their academic
I have less
performance.
than a minute. Security at the schools and police officers there.
A big addition this year, very excited about a new school resource officer being added to the middle schools.
Right.
So last year, Officer Dan Sullivan split the both middle schools.
Right.
This year, Officer Sullivan is staying at the Parker, and we have a new officer, Officer Dan Gogan, who's getting McCarthy. So we have 3 dedicated school resource officers to the district, 1 at the high school, 1 at each middle school, and phenomenal relationship with the police department as far as keeping our kids safe.
We have to wrap it up. Thank you for
Well,
coming.
thank you. Thank you for
Again,
having me.
appreciate it.
I appreciate it.